I mean, so you think that if you were married and you had children, you wouldn't necessarily have the time and energy to get into this? Or?
I wouldn't. Me personally, I would not. You know, unless I had a very supportive wife
Right.
that would go along with this,
Mm-hmm.
and I had like children that would help me out, or if they're minors, that's another thing.
Yeah.
You know, but I look inside myself, and if I did have a wife and children, me personally, I probably would not run for office.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you've gotten a fair amount of exposure from this. You've gotten a lot of, because you've been doing this for a while. And I mean, have there been any negatives from it? I mean, do you have trouble? Do you worry about your reputation at work, or because you get slammed online?
I get slammed. That's fine. I've kept my work life separate from my political activities. Mm-hmm. I don't mention this to anybody except a very few coworkers.
Right.
I don't tell my boss.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as my boss is concerned, he or she probably doesn't even know that I'm running.
Right.
So, I mean, my understanding of the employee rules that I have with my current employer is that as long as I don't mention their name or associate their name in any shape or form with my campaign, it's within the employee rules.
Okay.
So, I know that some of my ideas are controversial. The one on legalization of the sex worker profession.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there was one rebuttal that was given by a person called Libertas, and and I'm going to read it to you. I mean, it's essentially, he wrote, "I bet all the people calling Mr. Perez sick and nut job are the same people who go to tea parties and talk about freedom. Our founders believe that you have the right to pursue happiness. Your right to do what makes you happy only ends where my rights begin. If Mr. Perez wants to visit a sex worker, it has no impact whatsoever on my rights to life, liberty, or property. Liberty in a political context is defined as the freedom to do that which affects no one else. This isn't about prostitution, this is about freedom. The sex worker owns her body, it is her property. Mr. Perez owns his money, it is his property. This is about two people wanting to exchange their property in a voluntary trade for which they both believe they will be better off. Just because you and I think it is immoral doesn't mean it should be illegal. I find divorce to be immoral. Can I put all of you that have been divorced in jail because your actions are anathema to my morality? None of this matters because you are all a bunch of," and then he goes on, "ignorant humps that do not understand what freedom is nor are ready to live in a free society. That is why we are doomed to have government control more and more of our lives because people like the majority of those that posted here are not ready for freedom." And I'm glad that there's a Tea Party movement out there.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of participated, gone to some demonstrations. My gut feeling on the Tea Party movement is that it's controlled by right-wing Republican conservatives.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about economic freedom, but when it comes to personal liberties,
mm-hmm.
Elimination of all victimless crime laws amongst consenting adults, that's not a position that many of them believe.
Right.
So to me, although I'm glad that there's a Tea Party movement out there, that's great, that's fine, but when it comes to personal liberties,
mm-hmm.
again, elimination of all victimless crime laws amongst consenting adults, I think they're very weak on that.
Well, do you get recognized when you go out?
No.
Nothing?
Nothing. I mean, I do have problems as far as I walk my district, and unfortunately, you meet whack jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You meet whack jobs. I encountered, you meet some hostility.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know why. For instance, you go to some of these neighborhoods that say no soliciting.
Mm-hmm.
So I go there, but the no soliciting only applies for commercial matters. It doesn't apply for something like this.
Right.
So you'll get. I got one guy out here in Stillwater,
mm-hmm.
who as I was explaining, about to introduce myself, he basically says in a threatening manner, "Get the F out of here, get out of here. I'm gonna call the cops." I told him, "Oh yeah, go ahead." And then he said, well, yeah, all right. Then they just get even more hostile. You know, that's the type of people you meet, unfortunately. You know, you meet a lot of good people that are interested. I mean, most people, you have to make the message short when you introduce yourself to them. If it's more than 5 minutes, forget it. You're going to lose them.
Right.
So basically, what I do is the first thing I say is I knock on the door. I keep distance because I've already encountered people that, you know, they start getting hostile with you just for knocking on their door. So I keep my distance, you know, a safe distance to protect, you know, in case I got to leave or whatever. Give me some maneuvering. And then when they open the door, I say, hi, how are you? I'm Franklin Perez. First of all, I'm not selling anything. I'm just here to introduce myself to the voters. You know, again, and then I introduce myself again. Hi, my name is Franklin Perez. I'm just running for the Florida State House of Representatives in the year 2010. If you could please take the time to read some of my campaign issues in the back of my flyer at your leisure. And if there's any issues that are important to you, please contact me and let me know. And then, you know, I shake their hands. I say, oh, yeah, thank you very much. And I just move on. You know.
Well, I was going to say, I saw the thing on the group about the incident up in Sanford, I think it was, at the, the dock? Or
Sanford Boat Works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is something that you run into.
Yeah, this is something I run into. Now, the Sanford Boat Works, now, the man there, I mean, it does say no trespassing. So I'm at fault there. But I figure I've gone into other homeowners associations where it says like no trespassing, and a lot of them don't complain. Okay. Unfortunately, I was there. I was walking along that Pleasant Point. What's that place called? I forgot what it is. That there's this road there along on the Sanford Boat Works. Okay. So I go there and I talked to two boat owners there already, and they had absolutely no objections. I go to the last one on my list, and I get up. There's the yacht right there, and then I go up the ramp and I just knock on the yacht. And I was just gonna put my flyer there, you know, tape it. But then I saw a dog, and then I heard someone, so I thought, well, this is an opportunity to meet someone. So I'm there, I'm starting introducing myself, and the lady just starts yelling her head off. Get out of here! Get out of here! You're not supposed to be here! Get out of here! And so I go ahead and I say, I'm sorry for the... And she gets, and the thing is, she gets out of the boat. I'm leaving the boat. I'm leaving. I get out quickly. I leave the dock. I go back into the road there. And I forgot I forgot the name of the road. So I'm walking, right? And this, and she keeps yelling at me, and I apologized to her like twice. And then the third time she just keeps yelling, and I told her, lady, I've already apologized to you. Okay, if you want to call the cops, call the cops. So what does she do? I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call the cops. Then this guy, and the thing is, as I'm walking back going away, there's this road. And there was these two guys that were working there, and when I went past them the first time, they didn't object to me walking along the road. I walked back, and this guy wants to go ahead and play knight in shining armor, and tells me, "Get out of here, or I'm going to shove my foot up your ass." I mean, these are the type of whack jobs you meet, unfortunately. You know, and you know, I want to tell this guy, yeah, go ahead, I'll shove my foot up your ass. You know, but what do I, you know, and I have an inner conflict in me. Part of me wants to do that, but instead of doing that, I go ahead and I tell him, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And then I grab my pepper spray because you don't know what these guys are going to be capable of. You know, these are the whack jobs you meet. You know, and I reported it to the Seminole County Sheriff. I even spoke to somebody there, and they said they can't do anything because anyone can go ahead, supposedly issue a verbal threat, and in order for it to be a misdemeanor, it has to be the verbal threat plus the ability to do so.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm wondering if they always do that all the time, you know. But, I mean, this is one example of what you mean.